my children, my wife, my husband, my employees, or whatever. If something is mine, my ashram people, then the sense of death, fear of death. This is what the material world is basically going on, that fear of death. Like a few years ago, they told everybody, if you don't take this vaccination and wear a mask and do this and that, you're going to die. And many people, even devotees, forgot that they're going to die anyway. People think, okay, we'll stop atom bombs. That's not going to stop war. That's not going to stop death. You can conquer one disease, you just have another one more virulent. Like in Vrindavan, they have malaria a lot, always. Then a few years ago, they got this dengue fever, which is much worse. It's also spread by mosquitoes. Much more painful and more difficult to cure. And then I don't know when, last year or 2 years ago, they got another one. I don't know the name of it, but it's much more painful, much more hellish, and takes like 4 or 5 months to recover. So you can conquer this one, but nature always has another one, because so people are afraid of death. Oh, the enemy's going to bomb us. It's going to be death. The disease is coming. The economy is going to crash. You're going to starve. You're going to, you better get a big Mercedes car because they're safer. Otherwise, you could die in a car wreck. And people are working fear of death. And then this one, I think, affects some of us. The next one, anger after frustration. So the devotee, lust, anger, and greed, 3 gates leading to hell. Anger comes from lust, and anger kills. Anger is very dangerous. If one gets angry, he says things, and afterward he'll lament. Or in really heavy angry, people say and do things and they don't even remember afterward. The anger just takes over like another entity, like a ghost or something. And they'll even kill their own mother or their wife or children out of some anger after some kind of frustration. And they don't even remember doing it. These things happen. But Brahma had to create this because otherwise there would be no material world. And the people couldn't live in the spiritual world because they didn't want to serve Krishna. So Krishna had to make arrangements for all these souls that don't want to serve him. They had to, create Brahma, and then he has to create these things, a sense of false ownership. It is mine. In Bhagavatam, there's a nice verse in the second canto. Maybe you know it. I've been always trying to remember the Sanskrit, but not very good at it. But those who are in Maya, those who are controlled by the material energy, they always talk nonsense, beginning with, it is I and it is mine. I'll just look up that's the Sanskrit, that's the English. It is mine and it is I, that's called nonsense. And Krishna says over and over again, nirmama, nirmama, nirahankara. Uh, we have to never think anything is mine, nothing is mine, nirmama, and nirahankara. I'm not this body. But everyone's caught up in the bodily concept. I am black, right? And there's some places where people are prejudiced against black people. I've been in India, and India, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, has the biggest black population in the world, more than Africa. Many Indians are much blacker than many Africans. But that's the body that's covering. And if we're trying to, so at one point, some years ago, when a famous singer came up with a nice song uh, to try to encourage the so-called black people. Nobody's really black. Nobody's really white. There's many, many different shades of color, but it's a covering. It's only the skin. And the skin is just very thin. And when you take it off, the body's not very attractive. Some people are very much attractive to the black skin. Some people are attracted to white skin. Some white skin people want to get dark. Some dark people want to get white. They're not satisfied. So this verse says, this is a second canto, chapter 5. Vilajamanaya yasya statum iksha patemuya vimohita vikatante mamaham iti durdaya. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. Then purport. The invincibly powerful deluding energy of the personality of Godhead, or the third energy representing nescience, can bewilder the entire world of animation, but still she is not strong enough to stand in front of the Supreme Lord. Nescience is behind the Supreme Lord, where she is powerful enough to mislead the living beings. And the primary symptom of bewilderment is that they talk nonsense. Nonsensical talks are not supposed to be the principles of Vedic literature. The first great nonsense talk is, it is I, it is mine. A godless civilization is exclusively conducted by such false ideas and such persons without any factual realization of God, except a false God or falsely declared themselves to be God, like Hiranyakasipu. When Prahlad, talked about worshiping Vishnu, then he was so angry. I'm God. You have to worship me. There's no other God. So it is I and it is mine. It's very strong. One of the Beatles, George Harrison, who was under the influence of Srila Prabhupada, he wrote a song, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. The whole song was just, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. Everywhere is I, me, mine. All I hear is I, me, mine, I, me, mine. So he had somehow must have read this verse. False ownership. It is mine. This is my body. And my body's better than other bodies. And naturally, we think like that. And the illusory bodily conception of forgetfulness of one's real identity. So Brahma created these things. And devotional service, yoga, is to get out from these things and understand that I'm a servant of Krishna and everyone else is a servant of Krishna also. And no one is disqualified by age, by education, by wealth, by skin color, by religion, by language, by whatever different designations we put on each other. No one is disqualified from serving Krishna. Man, woman, even animals sometimes try to chant. Dogs sometimes. Ram, 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 ram. If there's a big kirtan, they'll sometimes join in and dance around. So this is the first creation. We're talking about creating the four Kumaras. It comes up later in the chapter. But before he could create any people, any population, he had to create these false ideas. So we should know about them and we should be trying to get out of it. And we have to have positive. One thing is I'm not the body, but every my body, they know that. And many people say, oh, yeah, I know that. They don't really know it, but they think I know it. But if they're threatened with death, then we get worried. My body, my body, my body. And every religion knows of saintly people that, were being killed by the enemy, by the atheists. And they were happy about it. They were not protesting. I just heard about Socrates. You've all heard of Socrates? Anybody? Huh?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
one of the original Western philosophers.
Yeah.
So we know he died, right?
Mm.
How he died.
Yes.
And so I just heard the whole story from someone from Rida Nandamaraj who knows all the history of these kind of philosophers. So he was polluting the youth. He was teaching you're not that body, you're a soul or something. So he was condemned. But he was very popular. He was a big philosopher. And so they told him, you'll be killed. You have to drink this hemlock poison. And then the real thing was that in Athens at the time, it meant you have to leave, they would say you're going to be killed. They'd have to leave Athens and never come back. And they had even arrangement, that they could get away. So his friends told him, the boat is ready. You can go. We'll take you somewhere else. And he said, no, I'll drink the poison. He said, they can't kill me. If they want to kill me, they have to catch me first. He was already in the prison, but he knew he's a soul. He knew they couldn't catch him. So he took the poison, and therefore he's remembered still. That was thousands of years ago, and he's still very much remembered for that. Not that we encourage suicide, but we're not the body. We're not black. We're not white. We're not Ghanaian, or we're not, whatever. I heard in Nigeria, they have 280 languages or something like that. I don't know if that's all different tribes or what, but most of them probably very few people speak. But there's many major languages, at least three or four that where many, many people speak. And they identify like that, and they think the other people are different. And that's why the government's always trying to, India also, the government's always trying to get people to say, I'm Indian, not I'm Gujarati, not I'm Tamil, not I'm, Bengali. I'm Indian, and the African Nigerians, I'm Nigerian. I'm African, but there's so many African tribes and so many different people, and they don't all get along with each other historically. There's so many Gotras in India, and the British and the Muslims, they could conquer India because the Indian kings, they were not united. They were all fighting, trying to grab the other one's property and everything. So all they had to do was make friends with one and help him conquer his enemy and then take over both. Because like that, this is politics. So we want to be above all this. We want to be free from these nescient engagements, from the darkness of ignorance, from this self-deception, from fear of death. Death is, there was one punk singer woman who became under the influence of devotees many years ago. And last I heard, she had a video in Vrindavan chanting Hare Krishna. So when she was under the influence of devotees and was still a very gross punk singer, she made a song, there's no such thing as death. It's just a transformation. It's just a transformation. Like Gyanachaksushi has his transformation. People like that. Change. We're just changing bodies constantly anyway. So, like we know Lord Jesus, very famous, he wasn't at all disturbed about leaving his body, if he did leave it. Prabhupada said he wasn't killed on the cross, but he wasn't worried. And there's many stories of Christian saints throughout history who were being killed, and they're just happily, because they knew they're going back to Krishna, they're going back to God. They didn't feel the pain. They're not afraid of death. Even a big Kshatriya, a real warrior, they're not afraid of death. Krishna says, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom fighting opportunities come unsought, because if they win, they get to heaven, the kingdom on earth, and if they get killed, they go to heaven. So they're very fearless to rush into battle and relish getting smashed and wounded. I think the one that affects most of it, well, false ownership, devotees are a little bit free from that, but not really. We all have something we think is mine. And in one sense it is, because we've been given the duty to take care of it. My children. But many husband and wife, if you meet one of them separately, this is my son, but it's their son, their daughter. They should say, this is our son. It's a combination to produce a child. And devotees are producing some very nice children. This morning I met Ganga Prasad's son right after Mangal Artik in Vrindavan. And I saw this brahmachari, and he kind of said hello. We were going opposite directions. And then I said, well, where are you from? I said, Nigeria. He was Ganga Prasad's son. He's studying at the Sanskriti University, studying some kind of medicine, cardiology, technology, studying the material heart. But he's also brahmachari. He's coming Mangal Artik, studying the real heart, and Krishna. Krishna's in everyone's heart. We have this physical heart muscle that's pumping blood through the body, but it's temporary. It's not going to pump forever. But the real heart is our love for Krishna that we've forgotten, and we're trying to revive that by the bhakti yoga process. So this anger after frustration, I've had mothers, not in the term of just women in general, but mothers tell me, I get angry at my children because I can't control them. So they get frustrated. They want the child to be under their control. And then they become angry and shout at the child or slap him or something, which doesn't help to change the child's behavior at all. And they said, what can I do? I said, well, you're not supposed to control the child. A very small child, you're supposed to inspire them. You're supposed to lead them. Same thing with new devotees or any devotee, anyone we're preaching to. We're not trying to control them. We're trying to, lead them. We're trying to inspire them. We want them to see a good example. Some so-called devotees, they can talk really nice. They know lots of scripture. They can quote. They're very charming. They know how to flatter people. But they maybe go home, beat their wife, or go off with another woman, or, who knows what else they might be doing. And some pastors, they say, do as I say, don't do what I do, don't follow my example. But a real preacher is by his example. St. Francis of Assisi, who was the real like Babaji type personality, and trying his best to be like Jesus. He said, we should always be preaching. And if you have to, sometimes you can talk. Very interesting. In other words, Your example is more important. You know, talking is extra. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, how did he say? Who knows what he said? When I was a kid, we used to say, if somebody was trying to tell me what, any other kid, you'd say, well, practice what you preach, But Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, walk your talk, you know. Some people can talk really nice. They can really explain Bhagavad Gita very nicely. I know one devotee I've been trying to help because he gets really in trouble with relationships, but he's the best preacher in that language of Bhagavad Gita. I said, you talk really nice, but then, if you get angry and lose your temper and insult people in public and everything, then people are not going to listen to you. The example is much better than precept. So that's, that's what people really take note of. If you have merciful consciousness and compassionate and strict, spiritual life at home and in public, then, we can influence the world and change the world. So forgetfulness, bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. Not that just I'm not this body, that's, many people have that. At least they can say that. And a real yogi, they can actually realize it and give up gross sense gratification. But if they don't know they're servants of Krishna, they're really haven't really made it. They're not fully, caught up. They're not really exactly right. So we're preaching, you are, Jiver Swarapoi Nichara Krishna Das. Sanatana Goswami told Lord Chaitanya. Sanatana was a very big scholar of the Bhagavatam. He was a big scholar in Parsi and Arabic literature. He was a great devotee from a Saraswat Brahmin family his whole life. So, but he said, I don't know who I am. People say I'm a big pundit, but I don't know who I am. And Lord Chaitanya said, Jiver Swarupoi, Krishna Anichara Krishna Das. Sometimes it says Krishna Anichara Das, but same thing. We're eternal servants of Krishna, everyone. That's the real form. Not that I'm a man or a woman or I'm young or I'm old or I'm beautiful or ugly or I'm black or white or I'm Yoruba or Igbo or Tweel or whatever you have in Ghana, American, Russian. And we have so many designations and we get caught up. He's an African devotee. He's a Nepali devotee. He's an Indian devotee. He's this, he's that. I'm thinking we should say he's a devotee from Ghana. He's a devotee from Africa. Not that he's an African devotee. First is a devotee. Being African is just, a temporary situation. The real thing is we're devotees. And everyone else is devotee also. Then we can preach. If you see everybody's a devotee, but they're just lost, they're just disconnected, so they're not happy, they're not functioning properly, then, like sometimes someone gets their hand cut off, some kind of an accident in a factory. And then, somebody saves that hand and the doctors are able to connect it so they can still use it to some extent. As they improve their technology, maybe they can get it fully functional, but when it's cut off and laying on the ground, it's useless. Can't do anything. Your finger can do so much, but if it's cut off and it's just on the ground, it can't do it. It's useless. So when we're separated from Krishna, we're not doing devotional service. We're just floundering in this material world. We're just trying to satisfy the tongue, belly, and genitals, then we just go crazy. We just become very frustrated because they have insatiable appetites, can never be satisfied. And the more they get, the more they want. That's the nature of greed. Greed can never be satisfied. They have a saying, God can fill everybody's needs, but he can't satisfy everybody's greeds. Krishna is giving all of us what we need. And we don't need very much eating. We don't need very much sleeping. We don't need very much clothes. Some people like to dress up and have new clothes a couple times a day. Okay, but nowadays the throwaway clothes is one of the biggest pollution problems in the world. I think Ghana is one of the biggest piles of used clothing clogging up their beaches. I was in Accra. They had I think the world's biggest used clothes market caught on fire, and all that polyester clothes, all these plastic clothes, they just went poof. Very quickly, everything burned down. So if we have too many things that we don't need, and we throw away a lot of things, and we create a lot of waste. Someone might think, well, it's my piety. I'm throwing away this waste, and that employs somebody to pick up the trash. So it's my good deed. That's it. Maya is very tricky like that. But it's not correct. So let us, focus on who am I? I'm a servant of Krishna. Where are you from? People ask me all the time when I'm in foreign countries, where are you from? I usually say I'm from Krishna. If, if someone's a devotee, and then I, sometimes just tell them, but I say, you mean where I was born? What do you mean? Where did I come from yesterday? Where was I 3 days before, a week before, 2 weeks before? There's a long list. In some countries I go on the immigration, they say list all the countries where you've been in the last 6 months. Where are you from? I'm not from any of those places. I'm just passing through. I'm not from where I was born. I'm not from this material world. I'm from Krishna. We're all from Krishna. We're all spirit souls. So I say, I'm from Krishna, same as you. And most people, sometimes I say God, depending on what kind of, but they like that. People get enlivened. It wakes them up, you know. Otherwise, who cares? Okay, I was born in this place. And if you meet someone from the same place, like you get kind of excited sometimes. Oh, but, I was born there also. Or I grew up there, or I went to the same high school. Oh, yeah, if we meet them in a foreign country, we get all excited. But in our own country, we don't care about meeting people from the same town. There's too many of them. But, so devotees are trying to educate, get ourselves purified to actually realize, we're not any of these things. We're not this body, and we're not going to die. We're going to leave this body, and if we can be Krishna conscious, Bhakti Tirthamraj very intelligently said, you should think of everybody that this might be the person I'm with at the time of death. And we should have a good relationship, right? Because if we're always fighting with the person and insulting them and trying to accuse them of, thievery and everything, then the time of death, if they're around, and they may not be too worried about it. But that's just a higher way of thinking. Building communities has to be based on love, has to be based on spiritual truth. When I was hippie, I saw some book about communities, and I was at somebody else's house, but I looked at it, and it said that for a community to last, it has to be spiritually based. So I was trying to find a spiritual community, but in those days, in the so-called spiritual communities were based on intoxication and illicit sex. And I didn't think that was very sustainable. I didn't know very much about religion, but when I met devotees and I could understand, yeah, this is it. This is a community of people, and they would tell me they have New Vrindavan, they have this place, they have that place. So I saw this as a united community. It's spiritual. By Krishna's grace, I happened to drop in by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, who is unlimitedly kind. You know, he's trying to collect us all and give us shelter under his lotus feet. So I won't take your whole life. Sometimes there's good questions. We want to give devotees time to get their head together with a question. I had a Bhakti Vriksha class, not Bhakti Vriksha, Bhakti Shastri, on the nectar of instruction with a lot of young devotees from different parts of West Africa. It's very enlivening. They were very good, very sincere, and very good readers. I had a previous class a few years ago. A few of them, they were not good readers, had a lot of trouble reading. But this group, everybody was very good. In fact, I couldn't stop them. They'd start reading and they just go really keep going, never miss a word. So it was very enlivening. But we need many more like that. We need many groups. We need many. We're supposed to be teachers, educational preachers, not the right word usually. It's because people are turned off by the idea of preachers. Preachers are usually trying to convert people, trying to make people their followers. And we're teachers. We're trying to share knowledge. We're trying to, bring people to Krishna. Okay, so any comment or question?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Loka Devi is there.
Hare Krishna.
Loka Devi, where are you? Is she in America?
Yes, Loka is my wife, Maharaj.
Is what? Your wife?
Yes, Maharaj.
Oh, okay. Yasoda Devi?
That is Hare Chakra Prabhu's wife.
I can't see the small writing, but it's a non-African in front of the TOVP. Narayani Devi, Sati Devi, I know her. Okay, we know the others. Thakur Murari, I don't know.
Thakur Murari is from Jamaica.
Okay, any question? No.
Yes, thank you so much, Maharaj, for the class. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations, you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand. Just a minute to ask your question or share your reflections. Maharaj, I have this question. See, we see in life, sometimes a parent may create a situation for the children. For example, a parent may have television set in their house, and maybe the TV may be showing some movie or some TV content. And then the parent tells the child, do not watch this show. And it becomes a bit difficult for the child to not watch the show. So my question is, why would Lord Brahma create these 5 nations, which is causing problem for all the living entities in this world? These false identification, which brings about frustration. And all these are the fear of death. Everybody is afraid of death. And it's all created by Lord Brahma.
Yeah.
Why would he be doing that?
Why did Krishna create the material world? Actually, Giriraj Swami said the first question he asked Prabhupada was, why did Krishna create the material world? Because it's so bad. You know what Prabhupada said?
No.
You created it. Krishna didn't create it. So we wanted it. That's what I said. Without those things, you can't have the material world and be the spiritual world. But the souls that don't want to serve in the spiritual world, they want to try to enjoy. So this is what comes along with when you try to separate yourself from Krishna. Then all these things come in. So like telling children don't do something makes them want to do it. That's just a general principle of life, not only children. So we want to give them something better to watch somehow or other, some higher engagement. Hopefully that we can do that. That goes for everybody, higher taste. Param Drishtva Nivartante. If we give up, not do something, but we want to do it anyway, but we don't do it, that just creates frustration. And then that frustration will create anger. So along with all these things that Brahma created, Krishna also he also comes himself, he creates the four Kumaras who are spiritual teachers. Brahma also, this is the first thing he had to create to have the material world. But then he created Narada Muni to go and teach Bhagavad Dharma everywhere in the world. The four Kumaras, the sages who were all doing yagyas and trying to engage people and all doing all kinds of different yagyas and teaching all kinds of different Vedas. So it's not that he only created these things, but in order to have the material world, you have to have those things. And we wanted the material world. We want to try to lord it over. We want to think this is mine. I don't want to, this is everything. Why should everything belong to Krishna? What about me? I don't know if I used to hear people when I do in Sankirtan book distribution in America, especially, you're being cheated. Your guru, he's got more than you, you're not getting anything. People would say, how much you get paid for this? We'd say nothing, they couldn't believe it because they saw the Sankirtan devotees are working really hard. And how can you do that for no money? One guy was telling me, you're so stupid, you're such a fool, your leader is taking all the money. And so I told the guy, I said, look, I'm out here, I collect a lot of money and I'm all alone. Nobody knows how much I collect. I keep a lot for myself, which wasn't true, but he said, wow, you're smarter than you look. Congratulations. That's great. So that's the kind of people we're dealing with in this world. But Krishna does, Brahma created so many other things, and he created Narada Muni because he wanted to teach people how to get out from this illusion. But if without that, nobody could function because they don't want to just serve Krishna. They have to have this illusion, this false idea. Read the purport. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Right.
Well,
Shelter of the Bhagavad, Brahma didn't write the Bhagavatam, but he told Narada Muni to preach it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, Maharaj, my other question, probably my last question, is anger after frustration. We realize that when our desires do not get fulfilled, then we become frustrated. From the frustration, then there is anger. And when there is anger, like Krishna explains in the Gita, then we will lose our memory and intelligence. And as living entities, we cannot be without the desires. And oftentimes, our desires do not get fulfilled. And when desires do not get fulfilled, this frustration comes about, anger comes about, we lose our memory, we lose our intelligence, and we fall back into the pool of this samsara, this cycle of birth and death. So what do we do as living beings when we still have desires? How do we live in such a way that even though we are desire beings, but we do not let these desires lead us to frustration and then anger?
Yeah, well, because we have the wrong desires. Desire cannot be, there's no such thing as no desire. We have to convert the desires. So otherwise people know, I mean, there's one famous rock song and the singer was singing, I want it, I want it, I want it. And then the other band member is saying, but you can't have it. You know? So if we want material things, even if we get them, we'll want more. And eventually we come to the point that we can't get as much as we want. So we have to change it. There was another famous song, this is all from my high school or before. I want money, just give me money, that's what I want. So one of my godbrothers, he twisted all the words and I want Krishna, just give me Krishna, that's what I want. You know, we have to want Krishna, we have to want devotional service, we have to want to serve devotees. We have to want to love devotees, you know. But if we want what another person has, then we're going to be frustrated, we're envious. Envy also comes from lust. So the 10 Commandments isn't one of them. Thou shalt not covet their neighbor's wife or something, not covet. You know, that's also one of the yamas and niyamas. You shouldn't be wanting, you know, what someone else has. You shouldn't be envious because you just go crazy. So we have to desire Krishna. I want to chant. We shouldn't think I want to go to the movie, but I have to chant. You know, we should be thinking I want to chant. And when we just think that way, I want to chant, I want to go to the temple, I want to serve, I want to bow down to every devotee, then it becomes joyful. If you think I have to do it, then it's difficult. Maybe I'm too tired, I can't bow down today. Maybe I won't be able to get up, you know. Or maybe this person's not worthy of me bowing down. They should be bowing down to me. You know, I'm older and I'm bigger. I'm been a devotee for 1 week longer than him, but he should be bowing down to me. So that we have all kinds of problems like that. We want respect, we want love, we want honor, we want all these things, but those are not symptoms of a devotee. Symptoms of a devotee is he's humble. Humble means he doesn't want any kind of honor, material or spiritual. But if you're free from that, you're going to get a lot of honor. And then you have to watch out and not think, oh yes, this is because of my greatness. We have to think it's because the devotees are so humble and as Krishna is so kind. And he's trying to encourage us to surrender, really surrender. Okay? Anyone else out there?
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Who is it?
Anyone else? Oh, okay. Madhuban Prabhu, yes, please you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Jai.
Oh,
Where are you? Where are you?
Nigeria. I'm in Ibadan, Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, I was there recently.
so nice
I
having
think you were at his
Maharaj.
temple, Maharaj.
Hmm?
Yes.
Yeah, I
You
visited.
remember you visited?
Yeah.
Nice
Thank
place,
you.
nice
You so
devotees.
much appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Maharaj. My
Nice Jagannaths
question.
made by Bali. I like them very much.
Oh, yes, wonderful. Thank you very much, Maharaj. I'm confused about Lord Brahma's intention because he wants us to feel in this material world. He gave us that illusion so that we think, after all, I'm enjoying. After all, life is not too bad because having made us to forget our real identity. It's just like maybe someone was born in New York City and now transferred to one village, one remote village in Africa. And if that child does not forget his life, previous how it was, he won't be happy in that village. So Lord Brahma created that make person to forget his real identity. Then secondly, Lord Brahma is always interested in population, in populating the planet. He wants a large population. So to me, this appears to be a bit contradictory to Krishna's intention. Krishna wants us to get out of this material world, whereas the Brahman is interested in increasing the population and they're making us feel that after all, we are enjoying. After all, I have a car, I have money. Yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah, well, I guess you didn't listen to the class, but we already rejected our real identity. We don't want to serve Krishna. So Krishna has to give us something. He doesn't want to throw us into the negative zone of no existence. So in order to get out of the material, we have to get into it first. And then Krishna makes so many arrangements trying to get everybody out. So many different religions, so many different, right? But not everybody will take it, unfortunately, even though you're offering it. So many people, no, I'm too busy. I don't have time. I'm happy. They're bewildered. The devotees are trying, Krishna is trying like anything to get us out. But most people say, no, I like it here. So Brahma, don't blame Brahma. He's just servant of Krishna. He's just empowered by Krishna to do what Krishna needs is the material world so that he give us a chance to be someplace where we can reform ourselves. Sometimes we have to suffer a lot before we realize, wait a minute, now I made a mistake, And then Krishna will send the guru, but then we have to surrender to the guru and follow the guru, which most of us don't really want to do. We just want to, kind of enjoy being a devotee, enjoying a good life. But, Krishna is telling us, that's why he gives us the Bhagavatam. Brahma taught Narada the Bhagavatam and created Narada just for the purpose of teaching people how to get out of the material world. But he also created all the sages and stuff that teach you how to do yagyas to stay in the material world and be happy.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
So we have to get that real desire. That's why we're keep hearing about Krishna, keep hearing about the spiritual world. So you want to go there, that you're not thinking, well, it's not so bad. Maybe maybe I can go to America. That'll be better than Africa. I can enjoy more there, not really, but you might think you can, but People are thinking like that all over. I want to go somewhere else and be happy. Okay, so let's get out of here.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. We appreciate it.
We gotta get out of this place. That's another famous song.
I got to get away. Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else with something to say before we call it a day? Please remember, Maharaj is speaking to us from India, and it's quite late his time.
It's getting there, like, yeah, 9:30, because
Yeah.
Kusha said the class started at 8, but it Delhi time, but actually it started at 8:30.
8:30 India time, yes. Yeah.
Anyway, we're supposed to stay up all night and not give up sleep and everything, right? But I haven't come to that platform.
Oh, right. No, I can't.
Got a long way to go.
I like to sleep sometimes, if not all the time. Well,
you know, Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Kuma Avatina Arjuna, you know, from the highest planet down to the lowest, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. You know, so some of us can realize that by hearing about it. Some of us have to travel widely and learn about it from experience. All right, so thank you for attending, whoever is there. And,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
love, love, love. Bhakti Tirthamaraj is stressing so much. Love. Love for Krishna. You can't love Krishna and not love devotees. And I've said, of course, you have to. I asked him, you know, instructions for the Africans the last time I saw him. And he said, first thing he said was, don't quarrel amongst yourselves. And at that time, I didn't have any recording device. And I had only my movie camera, and that was battery dead. So later in the day, I asked him if he would say it again. He said, no, they'll have to believe you. So I don't know if any believes me, but I've said it over and over again. So it's likely that it's the right thing because I haven't changed. But he said, don't quarrel amongst yourselves. That was the first thing. Because there used to be a lot of quarreling. It's Maya's trick. Kali means quarrel. He tries to make us quarrel amongst ourselves, mistrust each other, always think, you know, someone else is wrong and I'm right, so that we don't preach. And so Kali wants to stop the preaching, because if we preach a lot and more people are chanting, Kali doesn't have a chance. There's no place for him to go. Every place people won't be gambling, they won't be prostituting, they won't be killing animals. And so he's trying to stop our preaching by making us fight amongst ourselves. So let's fight Maya. War on Maya. All right. Everybody microphone on and chant the holy name.
yes.
Dance.
Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation for Maharaj being here, sharing his love and wisdom with us today. Please, you will be all unmute. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
His Holiness KAVICANDRA Swami Maharaj ki jai. All glories to assemble devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.